Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Turf Today on the Superintendent Network. Brought to you by the people that are always solving and always evolving, the Toro Company. It is our pleasure today to bring you a fantastic episode, a fantastic interview all the way from the Czech Republic. Our boy Scotty Mulhearn stops in and dives into his career, everything he's been through, and his very, very unique situation. We're very fortunate to have brought Scotty on and get to talk about some of these things, as we have been asked by a number of you from the community about some of these different types of situations in the golf course maintenance industry. So this is a really good one. Brian and I really enjoyed our time with Scotty, and we hope you do too. And you guys know me. My name's Adam Kershane. I'm joined by Brian Laurent. We hope everybody had a great Easter weekend and got to spend some time with family. If you were working all weekend, hopefully you're getting a little bit of a break right now through the week. In case you missed it, this past Thursday we dropped our first episode of Rollin' with the Green Section, a Turf Today and USGA collaboration on a podcast. It was a great first episode. It was nice to talk to George Waters, plays a big part over there. If you guys missed this show, it's a great one to go back and just kind of see how that show and how those episodes are going to be sort of laid out. Usually 2 to 3 different people coming on, talking about articles, talking about different initiatives, talking about different things going on with the USGA, because the green section's been around a long time and we really do need to shed some more light on it, especially with the younger people coming up. We're very excited to be doing that with those guys, so be sure to check it out on our channel. Congratulations goes out to all the winners from last week of the Toro Seamus Golf head cover giveaway. So far, we've had 9 out of 10 people claim their head covers, so there's still one floating around. So hopefully we hear from that person soon, or else we're going to have to run it back. Turf Today is brought to you by Toro. When it comes to spraying, precision makes all the difference. That's why Toro developed their GPS-guided GeoLink system for their MultiPro 5800 sprayers. The system knows exactly where you've sprayed and where you haven't, automatically turning nozzles on and off as you go. That means no more wasted chemicals or missed spots. Let that sink in, and imagine what you could save with that kind of precision. Visit Toro.com to learn more and see how Toro is always solving and always evolving.
Thanks, guys. You guys doing all right?
Yeah, things are good. We're just having our morning coffees here. Excited to chat with you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's morning for you guys. Yeah. It's it was 3 o'clock here in the afternoon.
Oh wow.
Just wrapped up with the day over there, or are you just taking a little breather and going back out, or what?
No, I just wrapped up. I start at 4 a.m. So
that's a good shift. That's a good shift.
Yeah. And with Easter, it's got to get everything done before tomorrow.
So is it 4 a.m. start? Because I noticed you're at a resort, so you have resort play going pretty early, or what?
So I'm in a 9-hole public golf facility, and the resort doesn't really do a lot for golf. They're mainly aimed at weddings and restaurant revenue. So
Gotcha.
the golf course just is kind of a side piece to the resort, but it's not. They don't really mingle and mesh too much together, unfortunately.
So tell us about where you're at right now, because this is the first time we visited a country like this, and tell us about kind of where you're at and what the golf is like over there.
All right. So I'm based in just outside, about 15 minutes north of Prague in the Czech Republic, and the golf course I run here is actually owned by my father-in-law. So he owns the resort and the golf course, but they're separate companies. So we basically, the golf course is a fully public 9-hole golf course, which started in 2011. And basically, we're one of the very few golf courses that allow play for people who don't have a green card, or because just as you asked, like the golf in the Czech Republic and actually a lot of Europe outside of the UK and Ireland and Scotland, a lot of golf requires you to have a handicap and be registered in, say, a specific country's golf system.
Interesting. So you've got to basically show like you have credentials to be able to play the game of golf.
Wow.
More or less, yeah. Unless you're a foreigner, and even some courses will just ask you, "Oh, do you have a green card in whichever country you're from?" And because when I first came here, I said, "Oh no, I don't have a green card." And they're like, "Oh, then you can't play." I was like, "I'm here.
Turf
I'm,
Today
I'm
is
ready
also brought to you
give
by
you my
Apex
money,
10
and I just
by
want to
Green
play
Nature.
golf."
And
Like,
Apex 10
sorry,
is a peat
you can go
humid
to the
substance
driving range.
tested and
I was like,
proven
okay,
at
wow.
universities around the world
Did
and
you
in
have them come
real-world
watch your swing to like
applications
show
to
that you
increase
actually,
plant
know what you're
metabolic
doing on the golf
performance,
course?
stimulate
No,
indigenous
but I went
microbial
back. I went back
populations,
a
reduce
year or two
irrigation,
later, and
lower fertility
I was
inputs,
hitting
and the
balls
product is
over the driving
registered for
range, and it was
organic
landing
use.
on their pump
Check them out on
house behind
Instagram
the
at
driving range.
Apex10 Life.
So give me the timeline of this. Did you go to the golf course before you got married? You met her there, or did you go there because you were married and went into the family business?
Well, I met the wife first, and because I actually came to the Czech Republic to play baseball.
Oh, multi-sport athlete. Here
Yeah.
we go.
Oh, just slow down there, Adam. So I had, was it a 16-year international baseball career, and in amongst that, I was a hack golfer, still am. And when I was playing, I met the wife, and it took her a while to introduce me to her father, and I can understand why as well. And basically, they were looking, or he was looking for extra help on the golf course. So I said, and he asked me, and I said, "Yeah, why not? I can do this, part time until about lunch, and then I'll have to go to baseball, go practice and whatnot." And then I think it was 2 years after that, after basically being a seasonal part-time worker, he offered me to be the head greenkeeper or superintendent at the course here.
What a ride. And I mean, what a great family to marry into, of course.
Yeah, I mean, now he's warmed up to me, so it seems like it's all working out for the best.
So tell me about your baseball career.
It's long and a lot of roads traveled. So I'm from Brisbane, Australia originally. So I grew up there, played there, and then I I was at like an elite high school, in elite all boys high school in Brisbane up until 10th grade, and then I had an opportunity to and go to a baseball school, or a high school that had a baseball excellence program, which was on the Gold Coast, so about an hour and a half commute. So I did that for my last 2 years of high school, and I got in touch with a Japanese man who was an professional scout in Japan, and he sent me over to Japan um, when I was 19 years old to play industrial professional baseball. So that was an interesting ride, and funny enough, I studied Japanese in high school, and I told my dad, "I'm never going to need to learn Japanese. Why am I going to do this?" So clearly I failed Japanese, and then 3 years later I'm like, "Oh no, I need to learn Japanese." So I was in Japan for 2 years with very little Japanese. Oh, what was that? That was 2005, 2006. I ended up tearing the ulnar collateral ligament in my elbow in between my two seasons, and basically I opted not to go for surgery. And
Is that the Tommy John surgery?
yeah.
Yeah. Nasty.
Yeah, so it wasn't a big enough tear where they're like you need to have surgery, but they're like, okay, it's about 3 millimeters, so it's going to give you pain for about 6 months. But if you just basically rest it, it should be fine after that. I was like, okay, well, let's do that. And when I got back into my second season, I was terrible. So my contract was up at the same time, so I kind of knew that they weren't going to renew my contract. So it was kind of something coming, and it is what it is, you know.
I was also a baseball player too, and people don't understand this, but a baseball swing is completely different from a golf swing, right? You're hitting off your back foot, you're kind of leaning down a little bit. So talk about that transition of learning how to swing a golf club compared to your baseball swing.
It's still in transition after all these years, mate.
Yeah, I bet.
The biggest thing I found was you watch the professional golfers or any half decent golfer, and their lead arm, or so if for a right-hander, their left arm stays more or less straight the whole time in their backswing. And when you see a baseballer, you can almost tell straight away because they have that hitch in their elbow, and then they come right over the top, and then that's why they get that wicked slice. But conversely, because with the baseball swing, same with hockey too, we kind of know how to use our legs and how to connect our body and have that powerful swing. So if we hit it right, it goes a mile, and everyone's always like, "Oh my God, what?" So that's my main trick when I play scrambles. Is I'm the vomit guy, the one trick pony.
I was gonna say, hence why you're able to hit it up over the nets and onto the pump
Yeah,
house.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, that's impressive. So were you a pitcher or what position did you play?
In Japan, I started off as a middle infielder, shortstop, second base. And then I kind of continued on to the baseball career. I went to college in the US for 2 years in Missouri and then Oklahoma. Played in Sweden for a year, then went back to the US to play professionally, then Austria for 2 years, and then the Czech Republic for the last, I was there for 6 years, I think, playing.
Nice. What farm system were you in the States?
I was in the Pecos League, so it was the bottom of professional baseball, and I still remember it. We were making $55.30 a week.
Oh my goodness. That's tough.
Riding in buses and staying in crappy hotel rooms and all that fun stuff.
Actually, the hotels was the worst. We were playing in Roswell, New Mexico, and there was three of us to a room. Two guys were sharing a double bed, and I was sleeping on the floor. And I actually got woken up in the middle of the night to a mouse or a rat next to my head.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nuts. But I'm guessing you wouldn't trade those times for anything, right?
Yeah, they were fun. They were fun, but yeah, it was definitely a one season, and I'm not doing that again.
Yeah. Got the experience. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's turn
Holy-
things back to the golf course a little bit here. So now you decide, I'm going to work in turf, going to work on the golf course. You go back to school.
So my interest in turf actually began through baseball. So a lot of the time when you're an import player in Europe, the clubs ask you to do some help around with the club, and a lot of my jobs were to help with the maintenance of the field. So I was like mowing grass, trimming edges, dragging the infield, fixing home plate, fixing the mound. So that's kind of where a lot of my interests kind of began in turf, because I just found it fascinating. Especially in spring, I'd be out there and I'd watch the aerators go out, verticut and hollow core out the infield and the outfield, and I was like, that's cool. Like, but why are they doing that? And then kind of as I met my wife and I was playing golf here a lot more, I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. Like now I'm actually seeing kind of a bit more golf course maintenance because I was there a lot, and it was kind of interesting. And then once I got offered the position to take over as the head greenkeeper, I thought to myself, I was like, well, I don't have a lot of actual knowledge in the finer things like fertilization, aeration, drainage, all the kind of nitty-gritty stuff of turf maintenance. I basically knew how to drive mowers around. So I did an online educational sports turf management program based out of the UK, and that was a 1 year program, and that kind of taught me more or less the base knowledge of how to manage sports turf, especially golf course turf.
So then do you rely heavily on some of your peers then to kind of help you with some of the other more intricate details of being a superintendent?
Uh, I I have a crew of me and a halftime guy.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
boy.
Okay.
So you got a lot going on then.
Yeah, so well, I do a lot of, I guess you call it independent research and self knowledge, and try and learn as much as I can by myself, not through courses and stuff at the moment. And it was also watching little clips from you guys, from Woolly Park Golf Club, who, yeah, John on the podcast. So, watching stuff like that kind of would help give me ideas and spark interest in, oh, okay, that's how these guys do it. Maybe I can do it like that, or oh, that's a good idea. Let's try and implement that. So, a lot of that stuff came from, you guys and Woolly Park Golf Club, and then also just being around other golf courses and kind of seeing what kind of stuff they're doing as well.
And now it's time for another installment of Ask the Agronomist, presented by the Andersons. From tee to green, goal to goal, and shoots to roots, nothing is off limits.
Welcome back to Ask the Agronomist, featuring PhD agronomist Ben Pease from the Andersons. Today's question comes in from Ben Wagner. What is your favorite starter fertilizer for establishing bentgrass greens?
Thanks for the question, Ben. That's a good one. There's a lot to think about when you're going through the arduous task of establishing a bentgrass green. I won't just jump into product recommendations, but let's kind of quickly break it down into what problems we might encounter during putting green establishment. Assuming this is probably a sand-based system in 2025. So the main thing is we've got a sterile root zone that we're working with. Straight USGA sand pretty much has minimal organic matter, and therefore, mineral nutrient holding capacity, or CEC, in the soil test. So we got to supply a steady, supply of nutrients here through the growing, especially along the lines of micronutrients and phosphorus. And phosphorus plays into root system development. That's another problem that we'll have when we're establishing a green. Making sure we get good root system development is critical. So we got to think about phosphorus all the time. And humic, if you ever heard me talk about humics, we know that humics drive root growth as well. So that's another component that could be used. Feeding is going to be continual. We don't want to overfeed, but you got to make sure this turf is fed pretty much every week to some extent. And you can't get a sprayer on there, so usually this is a granular start. But the first few months, we're really going to be pouring nutrients onto this turf to fill it in quickly and get those things ready for play. But it's nice to know, can we use a product even before, in that growing phase, and then after the growing. It's nice that we can, if you pick a high quality, high uniform fertilizer, we can dial it back in amount and still, keep the same products on that thing for the whole maturation phase as well as the growing phase. Some fertilizers that we like to recommend for putting green establishment, and this would play for bent grass or warm season grasses as well. ATEP. So this is our trace element package. It's normally tough to put down at low rates, but at establishment, we can put this down at 10, 11, 12 pounds per thousand and incorporate it into the root zone. So let's get it into that sterile sand root zone, get some nutrients, some micronutrients into there, and some humic. The new version coming out is going to have some humic with it. So that's a great product to use. We've had a lot of success with our Genesis RX 575. So This has low nutrient levels, but the benefit here is we've got slow release nitrogen and slow release phosphorus. And you heard me talk about phosphorus being important. We can't have just quickly available. We need long-term phosphorus. So slow release phosphorus is a big, big thing. It's got humic in it. It's got micronutrients. So that's a great option. Now, before you start mowing, we can use things. We can use fertilizers that don't disperse because we're not going to be picking materials up. So there's some non-dispersing fertilizers out there. One that comes to mind is our T-Time 14, 28, 10. It's got 50% slow release nitrogen. It doesn't disperse, so it's less expensive, but we're not mowing yet. So not an issue. But once we start mowing, then we can switch to pretty much anything in our Contact DG line. We've got a 12, 24/8 starter Contact that's really great for those initial months. Smart Phos, which is all phosphorus, 422.0 slow release phosphorus. And then most superintendents are familiar with our Contact DG 18918. That's great for those initial growing months, but then also the maturation phase. You can meter it down and just spoon feed your turf that way. So those are the products I'd recommend for starter fertilizer type things to establish a green. We've got to think about your micronutrients, think about your phosphorus levels, feed, but don't overfeed. And all those few products I mentioned will kind of go together to give you a really, really good growing program, especially for a sand root zone. So take a look at those. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to myself, reach out to Adam. He'll get you in touch with us, or reach out to any of your sales reps, and we'll go from there. I'll put in one new plug for that. We will have a new ATEP DG coming out this summer, and that will include humic, and it's dispersing, so it can be used really easily even after establishment too. Exciting stuff coming this summer for people that might be establishing some greens.
That is very exciting, and a lot of great recommendations there, Ben. If you at home want to find out more about some of these products, head over to andersonspro.com. This has been another installment of Ask the Agronomist featuring Dr. Ben Pease from the Andersons.
From my side of things, we have a almost nothing budget. So everything we do is all about being cost efficient.
It's literally a mom and pop golf course then, huh? It's
awesome. Seriously, and it's I think it's fun because because of the challenge. I mean, I am very envious of the other golf clubs who have, 15, 20 guys on their staff, and, crazy huge budgets. But then again, I think a lot of those places, they just become way too programmed into what they're doing, into their nutrition fungicide, pesticide usage, even water usage. It just becomes programmed. And I think sometimes maybe, assistants, part-timers aren't necessarily learning some of those valuable pieces of information on how to manage a piece of turf like that, or a property like that. Because they just, it's just like, okay, every 2 weeks we're going to spray fungicides on the greens, and then we're going to top dress every 2 weeks and whatever, and they don't understand why. And and I think, in my opinion, with a lot of courses here, a lot of guys don't, especially with those big programmed golf courses, a lot of them might not even know what dollar spot looks like, what anthracnose looks like, because they're spraying so much, they never actually see it. So which makes it, I think, would make it hard if you're trying to learn and further yourself in the industry.
Well, it's great. It's great to have you on today, Scotty, to talk about some of this stuff. We get asked all the time about low budget golf courses or limited staff golf courses, because it's a big challenge, and there's lots of golf courses out there like that. So we'd love to dig into some of this stuff and ask you about, working on a golf course by yourself or with one other person. How do you kind of have to adapt to that and make some changes where And a golf course down the road has 15, 20 different people to do the work.
Planning is the biggest thing. Is because I live like a 2 minute walk from the golf course, so I'm constantly there, and I can go into our shop and I can change up our maintenance plan for the next day or for the whole week as I see the weather, as I see the golf course. But a lot of it is, planning, preparation, and time management is essential. So I've done everything on the course. So I have an idea of how long each job should take. So I kind of schedule the jobs in a time frame that I know, okay, we can get this, and this done before play starts, and then we can go through this before lunch starts, and then this is what we can do after lunch, and so on and so forth. But I also will kind of stack some jobs. So, for example, in the mornings when I start, if I'm rolling greens or mowing greens, I will also do the bunkers. Maybe adjust tee markers. So I'll kind of do three tasks in the one trip around the course so that we're minimizing time wastage with the second trip out. We walk mow our tees and collars, green collars. So I set up our walk mower at the same cut height, so we don't have to run out a second mower to do one of each of those tasks like that.
You can basically do your job board on a Post-it note then. It sounds like if it's just you and one other guy. That's pretty
almost
incredible, man. That's unreal.
Almost.
Tell me, I'm completely oblivious. What's the golf scene like there in Prague in the Czech Republic?
It still has that kind of snobbish acumen to it. So people who don't play golf think, oh, it's for the rich, it's for the snobby, it's for the elitists. And even honestly, some of the people that play as well are like that. You'll go around and they're all swagged out in Jay Lindenberg and got all the brand new clubs and they still shank it into the woods and
But they look good doing it, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
That's half the battle.
But they look the part. But golf here is quite expensive as well. I think these days, on average, to play 18, you're looking at about minimum $100 US for 18, even on the cheaper courses. And that's kind of where we're going against the grain, is because we're fully public, and for 9 holes we're like $25 US for 9, and it's like 35 for 18 if people want to go around twice, something like that. My currency conversion is not the greatest at the moment, guys. So
we'll give you a little slack. It's okay.
Yeah.
How about the weather? What's the weather like where you're based?
Right now, we're just like you guys. We're going in, or I guess you'd say starting spring. So today was a nice 25 degrees. So that's what, 60, 70 Fahrenheit, something like that. In the summer, you'll get up to like 35, 36 degrees. So that's up in the upper 90s, I think, for you guys, or maybe even close to 100.
Well, we do Celsius in Canada, so we do it the right way.
Yeah, I'm completely lost. You know, you start throwing out Celsius. Yeah, I don't know. I'll take your word for it, Scotty.
Yeah, Celsius is so much more simple.
Yeah, we can't start that argument though.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, let's not open that kind of.
It's the only thing I know, so it's easy for me. Yeah, it's fine.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
How many golf courses are kind of in your area?
If you're a golfer living in Prague, it's awesome because you have there's probably something like 15 or so different golf courses within an 45-minute drive of being from the Prague city center. So there are a lot of options, and the majority of them are 18-hole courses. I think there's only four, including us, 9 holes in that kind of vicinity.
So of those golf courses kind of in that area, do you communicate a lot with some of the other superintendents in that area and kind of share ideas with one another?
I have a good relationship with the premier golf club in the whole of the Czech Republic. It's PGA Oaks, or PGA National Oaks, sorry. So that was the golf course that held the Czech Masters, which is an event held by DP World Tour. So that was where that was held last year. So I have a good relationship with those guys there, and so I picked their brain because they have their 2IC, second in charge is from Alaska. So it makes communication for me a lot easier. So we communicate a lot, and we bounce ideas. Mostly, I bounce ideas off him. But yeah, we have a good relationship there. I also talk to another 9-hole club, which is about 20 minutes from here. I'll communicate with them a little bit here and there, but to be honest, for the most part, they haven't been too helpful lately because I think they're feeling a bit pressured because we've been getting more and more popular over the past couple of years. So I think they're feeling a little bit of pinch from management in terms of how many rounds they've lost over the last couple of years.
So you
But I
guys
could be totally wrong as well.
So you guys don't have like a turfgrass association in Prague or something like that?
We have the Czech Greenkeepers Association,
Okay.
which I'm not a member of, but I've gone to. Well, they do hold events every year, like winter school and stuff like that. So 2 years ago, I went and James Pledge was there, which was really interesting to listen to him.
Hi, it's Matt from Standard Off, and for over a century, Standard Off has set the benchmark in golf course accessories. As inventors and innovators, we design, manufacture, and assemble top quality products proudly made here in the USA to enhance every aspect of your golf course. From tee box essentials like ball washers and tee markers to greens equipment including cups and flagsticks, and even those custom flags that showcase your course's unique identity. We provide the tools that superintendents trust to elevate the game. Standard Golf, where innovation meets the green.
Looking at your website here, it looks like you guys have a lot of native areas. Is that accurate?
Yeah, the way our golf course is set up is we have no irrigation at all.
Ooh.
We have irrigation on 2 of our practice greens, and that's about it.
Oof.
So fairways don't get irrigated at all. To water greens and tees, we basically have 2,000-liter tanks that we set up on the back of a trailer, and we fill them up and run the tractor out with that and pump out water onto the greens that way. And because it's only me, more or less, we have decided that we will incorporate more native areas into the course to minimize mowing time, and also because we want to be we are a natural golf course, so we want to kind of preserve that natural look. So we like the look of having red fescue growing up and trees growing through the trees, and it also helps shape our course because we are quite a young course still in terms of a lot of the other courses around the Prague area.
You have a lot of plans for the golf course or the things you want to change? I know you have a bit of a limited budget, but is it sort of just maintain the course, or do you guys want to kind of improve it as you go?
Over the last 3.5 years, I've basically been doing little improvements, changes to the course each kind of year. Everything that I want to do, basically, I have to get permission from my father-in-law, and most of the time he'll say yes if it basically if I tell him I got to give him an exact budget of how much it's going to cost and what it will do and what the benefits are. But almost 95% of the time he's on board. So it's been stuff like I've increased 10 of our 12 greens, increased 4 of our tee boxes, added a couple of bunkers, taken out a couple of bunkers, little things like that, that just, one or two things each year just to kind of improve the way the course plays and improve the flow for us is important, because we don't want people, trying to play 9 holes in 2 hours. We want people in and out in about an hour and a half.
I'll bet those family dinners are pretty interesting then when there's a hot topic going on and, and you're asking for something. Get a little contentious maybe, huh?
Yeah, it's all business with you.
Yeah, was it?
There's very, very little small talk.
So it sounds like you're also kind of playing golf course architect as well. Do you have, any knowledge or anything of architecture?
My knowledge of golf course architecture is based on me playing golf courses and just seeing how they're set up. But funny enough, we are probably going to have to reroute the golf course in 2 years or so. They're building a new train line that goes from Prague to Dresden in Germany, and the plan for that is to cut through part of our land, part of the golf course. So what we're looking to do is we'll have to remove 1 hole, and basically what I want to do is build 2 more and close the first hole. So we've kind of started the general idea of how it will look, but it is something in the back of my mind that I'm excited about, but also scared as shit about.
Is the railroad going to be giving you guys some money to take that land, and you're going to be able to use that then to kind of rebuild?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that would be the only way we could really do it is if whoever the train line company is would pay for some of it because it's going to basically run down by the side of our sixth fairway and almost cut across near our 5th green. So, but in my opinion, it'll be good anyway, because we're a par 34 9-hole course, which means there's 4 par 3s, which is tough, and it's holes 1 and 2 are both par 3. So you go par 3, then the third is par 4, then 4 and 5 are par 3s again. So I want to change it so we move to only having 2 par 3s. Nice. And make it more of a traditional par 36.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good idea. So, Scotty, I just wanted to go back to this whole transition, being a pro baseball player, you're kind of fully invested in that, traveling around, chasing that dream, and then you make the transition and you're into greenkeeping. So I'd love to know about some of the things, over the years you've learned about yourself working on the golf course and kind of going through that whole transition in life.
Well, I think, as you know, as a former athlete, it's hard work. Hard work is what gets you places. If you want to be a professional athlete, then you got to work hard. And you got to work harder than anyone else, and that for me was huge in my development in turf. Was just working hard at it. Going from baseball, which I was so passionate about, and then finishing up with that, and then I really did need to find something else that was going to be my next passion, and that was turf management and golf course management, and those 2 things alone has been my driving force, and still is right now. Is just loving what I'm doing, being passionate about it, understanding that I don't know everything, but also having that hunger to want to learn more and want to know more and want to keep improving and be the best I can be and make the golf course the best it can be with my budget restraints and staffing constraints. So I think those were the two biggest transitional things that helped me a lot. Just, hard work and dedication. One of the hard things though was getting up early.
Yeah.
Never gets easier, does
That's
it?
tough.
No, yeah, because I don't know what it was like when you were playing hockey, but especially in Prague where a beer is like $2, sometimes not even that if you go to the right places. There were long nights out, and usually it was multiple nights in a row. Um, so getting up at the crack of dawn was definitely not one of the things that I was used to, but I slowly became more adjusted to it. But yeah, that was definitely something that I didn't enjoy at the start.
How did you adapt to all the different cultures? Because, you mentioned going from Australia to Japan to the US to Sweden to all these different places. What was that adjustment like for you going into these new environments?
For me, I think it was easy, more for the most part, because I'm Korean born, but I was adopted by an Australian family. So right from the get-go, there's that kind of identification of ethnicity differences. So we also did a lot of traveling with the family when I was younger to Asia, just to expose me to what the world is like. So in those terms, I think it was a lot easier than maybe for a lot of people, just because you know I look different and I sound completely different to what people might perceive at first sight. Uh, even if I'm in, say, in Japan, people are like, oh, this guy's got to speak Japanese, and then I'm like, hey mate, how you going? They're like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
That sounds like a bar trick almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I probably one of the craziest things when I was in college in Missouri. So I was right on the border of Arkansas, and I would go to this one gas station and buy beer. And I came in, a couple of times every week, and it was usually the same lady that would serve me. And then one day she was like, "Hey, you sound different. Are you from Texas?" I was like, I was like,
Try again.
I was like, what?
That's
Well,
unlike any
no,
Texas accent I've ever heard.
No,
yeah,
yeah.
I
Like,
know. But
that's hilarious.
it was those little things kind of just as time went on and as I continued to travel, it kind of opened my eyes and opened my mind into understanding that where I grew up and what I was accustomed to wasn't everything. And that life outside of my little home bubble was very different and it got very fascinating to me and I really embraced it. And I think that's what has helped me transition or um, uh, you know just be able to embrace different cultures so well was just traveling a lot and being exposed to different cultures and different people.
So what's the feeling like now that you're sort of home? You have a place where you can call home, you can work, you don't have to be on the road all the time. You're not going to be traded or something happen. What's that like now, kind of having a home base?
Different. That's the best way I can describe it. You know, when I was playing in my playing days, it was like January, February was always the most anxious time of the year for me because it was always like, okay, I'm looking for a team. I need a team to play. What am I going to, or am I going to be done? And so it was a very anxious time for me, very stressful. And now it's calmed down because I'd get that team or and I'd go there and then it was just you know practice, play, party, like it was a very non-stop lifestyle, but now everything's slowed down a little bit. Um, I have two young girls, and they have completely changed my social life, but also my desire to want to go out and party till 4 o'clock in the morning. But it's also comforting in a lot of ways, because I also look back and say, okay, that's just another chapter in my life that I've turned the page from, and this is the new one, and I'm happy and I'm content, and I couldn't ask for a better situation than I could be in right now.
Is travel something you still enjoy doing? Do you want to expose your children now to kind of the same opportunities you had to show them different cultures?
Definitely. I mean, I think travel is so important for anyone, and I don't think age is a prerequisite. I think no matter how old you are, it would be very beneficial for you to travel the world, see different cultures, because it really does change your mind and change your way of thinking as to how the world works, and how people work. And I think it makes you really appreciate a lot of things that you have, and it makes you think about some of the things that could be better in your life, or in your society where you live. And I want to make sure that my kids have that upbringing where they're open-minded about other cultures, and open-minded about different foods, and the way the world is, because you know I think with social media and internet access these days, it's very easy for people to just look at things on their phone or on their computers, and be like, oh yeah, that's cool, but I don't really want to go there because I can see it all on my phone. Whereas if you go there, you can really take in what it's like to be in a different culture, in a different country. If you're to say you're in Egypt, you can really, I guess you could really take in the magnitude of the pyramids. Or you go to India, you could really take in the beauty of the Taj Mahal. Or for me going to New York City and seeing the Statue of Liberty was breathtaking. Like, it's so much bigger in person than on a screen. Things like that you just can't, you would never get from just sitting on your ass and looking at it through a screen.
It's a great perspective right there.
Mm-hmm.
Really good perspective. So you mentioned the foods and exposing them to different foods around the world. You have a city that a favorite city for food?
It's got to be a tough one. He's
Tokyo.
traveled.
Yeah, I know.
Tokyo still.
Tokyo.
Really?
Yeah. Japanese food is just something different. It's so good. And there's so many different varieties of Japanese food you can get. You can get, your very traditional Japanese foods like sashimi, like your sushi, your grilled fish with the bone still in and the head still on. But then you can go literally to the shop right next door, and it will be something with, a Western influence. So it's like a deep fried chicken cutlet or pork cutlet, but then with their Japanese influence in it as well. So then it's stacked on top of a bowl of rice with a cooked egg mixture on it, and I miss that more than anything in terms of food. Is that Japanese food is
making me hungry all of a sudden.
Yeah,
I
I know.
breakfast
I love
this morning.
oh yeah. The sushi in Japan is like, I'm in this perspective where you can have some of the best sushi you want wherever you go, but the sushi in Japan is going to be second to none.
Mm.
Sounds good. So what about
And
golf
it's
courses?
cheap.
Have you visited golf courses or played golf in a bunch of different countries? You have a favorite or something that kind of blew you
Um,
away?
I've played golf, obviously in Australia. I played golf once in the US, out in Oklahoma. Obviously Czech Republic, Austria. I played a couple. And then just recently, in February, I went on my very first golf trip
Not a boy.
to Malaga in Spain.
Have you done any? You mentioned, your friend up the street hosting the Czech Masters and that. Have you gone and maybe volunteered or helped him during the tournament and kind of get a little perspective?
I I wanted to. I
Yeah.
really wanted to. But at that time, it was middle of the season for us, middle of the golfing season. So it was very hard for me to get off, especially with only a half a guy to do the rest. Um,
Just hand the keys to your father-in-law and tell him,
Yeah.
like, hey, man, I got to go for
yeah,
a couple days.
Career advancement. Here
All
we go.
yours.
It's going to make everything better.
this is how you drive this is how you drive the triple X and
Yeah.
go mow the greens.
That's right.
Don't
You
don't
come
worry
home to
about
a
the
bunch of
rest.
scalped edges.
Oh,
And yeah.
exactly.
Oh,
Scotty, you were telling me about that seasonal employee you have. You guys had a funny day out. Was it dragging cores on a green or something like that?
yeah. Well, so that seasonal guy is actually my brother-in-law.
Okay, there we go. It's a family affair.
Yeah.
It really is
So
a mom and pop golf course then.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he's gonna start more or less full time in a month and a half. Once he's finished his high school exit exams. So basically, last year we'd done tee box aeration, and my tee boxes or the red tee boxes are very small. Most of my tee boxes, in comparison to other places, are extremely small. We're looking at like 20 square meters at most per tee box. And anyway, this specific tee box is about 10, 10, 12 square meters, so it's small. And we'd just done aeration and we'd thrown the sand on, and we needed to push the sand into the cores, into the holes. And I had the idea where I said, okay, I want you to drag these in instead of brooming them in. So I gave him the chain drag, which we usually tow behind a gator, and I said, okay, drag this in, run around in circles until the sand's dragged in. And he was like, oh, are you sure? I was like, yep, go on. So off he went, and I think he ran about 5 or 6 circles before he got dizzy, and I was on my ass laughing.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah, can the
That
turn
would-
radius even handle that?
Yeah, I mean, he's maybe 50 kilos soaking wet. So when he was trying to turn, basically the drag mat was not moving; it was just kind of spinning in
Yeah, it
little
was just doing a
circles.
little circle.
Yeah, it was more just piling the sand up into a single pile. And,
Oh my
I
gosh,
thought
that's
that
hilarious.
was quite funny.
So
'Cause, yeah, he just didn't know any better, but I thought it was hilarious.
and then set him out for the side stretcher after that.
Yeah, exactly. Rookies.
I
Yeah.
love it. So I want to know what's your goal then? Do you think are you going to be a lifer here then, be part of the family business, or do you have any aspirations to potentially go and take on another golf course?
I would love to go to a different golf course. I think that would be fantastic, even if it wasn't as a superintendent or head greenkeeper's position. I think it would be a fantastic learning opportunity for me, especially some place that had a crew and facilities and money. But looking at it on a probably more realistic view, I don't think I would be able to go anywhere without unless the golf course closed.
Turf Today is also brought to you by Apex 10 by Green Nature. For your free trial, reach out to us so we can get you on their list. To learn more about the company and their products, head over to greennature.life or follow them on Instagram at Apex10Life.
The other option is if we somehow found a bunch of money and I was able to employ, a couple of other greenskeepers, and then I could step back and go somewhere else. So unfortunately, I don't think it's in my cards to go somewhere else. But I have been thinking about possibly trying to go to somewhere like in the UK in the winter, and maybe try and do some volunteer work at a course there for maybe a month. That way I'm not away from the family for too long, but it's enough to allow me to get some external knowledge and experience somewhere else. So that's one thing I have considered doing, but I think I might have to wait 2 to 3 more years until the kids are a bit bigger and older so they can look after themselves a bit without driving the wife crazy.
Well, you got lots of time, bud. There's no rush, right? You're still really young.
Oh, I'm not that young. I'm 38 this year, I think.
Yeah, see, lots of time.
Oh,
Lots of time.
Yeah.
all the time.
Body,
All the
the,
time.
the body doesn't feel it though. The body feels better.
That's because
Well,
you used and abused it with
Yeah.
baseball all those years. Yeah, that's tough.
Baseball and alcohol.
You've been working hard.
So I'd love to hear about the dynamic. I mean, I worked with my father when he bought the golf course he grew up on. He and I worked together for a few seasons, and it's not easy. Talk about the dynamic of working with family.
Oh, okay. So it's like I said earlier, it's all business. And when I say it's all business, I mean it's all business. Like I could probably count on one hand over the past 7 years how many conversations I've had with my father-in-law that aren't related to what's happening on the golf course base or the resort. You know, it's it's very it's a very uneasy relationship, I guess you'd say. But we have a good relationship, but it's a business relationship. And well, sorry, I shouldn't say that. These days, if we do have a non-business conversation, it's about the kids. So
That's pretty typical when the
Yeah,
grandkids
yeah.
come around. That's pretty typical.
yeah.
What about when there is a disagreement? How do you go about handling that conversation with your father-in-law when there's differing opinions? I mean, obviously, again, being family, there's just that. It's
Yeah.
different.
So he is extremely good at getting things done and getting what he wants. Um, I found that I'm very good at moving people, getting other people to do what they don't want to do. And so there are lots of, disagreements or different perspectives on how things should be done. And the way he does things and the way he wants things done is as soon as it pops into his head, it has to happen immediately. So I usually just, shake my head. Yep, okay, I'll get it done. We'll get it done. And then I let him sit on it for a couple of days, and then I say, "Oh yeah, I was thinking about it, and your idea is great, but I think we should try this, and it'll be more beneficial this way, this way, this way." And he'd be like, "Oh yes, 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 that's a good idea. I was thinking about that too." So I kind of, you know, um, incept in his head that it was partially his idea. So then he can take a partial credit for it too.
Smart man. Smart man. Well, Scotty, this has been great, man. We flew through this hour. I know the only other thing you wanted to kind of talk about was the golf perception in Europe compared to, Australia and US. Do you want to dig into that a little bit for us?
Yeah, yeah. So like I was saying earlier, like golf in the Czech Republic and a lot of other like countries in Europe, it's very strict. It's very prototypical. You've got to dress with a collared shirt, tucked in, full golf attire. you know, no speakers on the course, no drinking, you know, no belligerence. Whereas in Australia, and I think some of the US as well, it's almost the complete opposite. Like I know in Australia, you see people playing in a tank top, board shorts, and no shoes,
Oh yeah.
and that's totally okay. And actually, funny, I've actually seen a guy with his trolley bag in one hand and a wheelie cooler in the other hand, full of beer. So he's
It's
Had to bring the
dedication.
wheelie cooler.
yeah, and that was their day golf. Just literally out there getting hammered, just having a good time and not having a care in the world. Whereas here, it's very, here there's I don't think there's been a course that I've been to here where there's a cart girl. It's just non-existent here, which
Interesting.
is funny because the Czech Republic is such a drinking nation. I think Czech Republic is in the top 5 countries in the world in beer consumption per capita, which is, but for some reason, not on the golf course.
It's weird. It's a big
So
miss for the
yeah,
golf
that's
courses. They're leaving a lot of money on the table there.
right. Right. I was talking to my friend and I was like, this is a huge hole in the market that you could take advantage of.
No kidding.
And it could, like, you could, I was thinking the way we were kind of talking about was, we just outsource, we become an outsource company that provides cart girls to the golf course. So we send the girls and we buy the drinks off the golf club, for example, and we go out and so we take a profit margin from the golf course of what the girls sell. And I was like, this could be a slam dunk business opportunity. I don't know how many times I've been hot chicked on a golf course back home. Oh, that cute card girl comes up. Oh, I've still got 2 beers in my hand, and I'm like, yeah, I need 3 more.
That's funny. Are there any initiatives in your area to grow the game, or is it just very much settled in as, kind of as you phrased it, almost like an elitist thing, and it's always going to be that way?
There's not, and that's the sad thing about it is the only real initiatives are like kids camps. A lot of places will do afternoon kids camps once or twice a week, and then their summer camps for that like week or 2 long summer camps for the kids. But that's really about it, which is disappointing. And I've actually had other greenkeepers tell me like that our golf course concept and our business model is what this country needs more of. Is completely open to anyone kind of golf courses to be able to let this game grow in this country and take away that stigma of it being so posh and so elitist. And I was like, like this game is never going to grow the way people want it to if people aren't prepared to change what they're doing and allow people to be welcomed no matter their skill, no matter their background in playing golf, and no matter what they're wearing. Because I don't go to a golf course and look at what the next guy's wearing and be like, he belongs here. I don't care what someone's wearing. Like probably the more expensive stuff you're wearing, the more I think you're a bit of a you might be a bit of a douchebag, especially when you slice one into the woods.
Well, you guys get to be the trendsetters over there then, right? I mean, that's great. You allow, anyone to come in and play. You can get the wife on the beverage cart, if it's a true family business out there, and just break the mold.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, because if I could plug our golf course a little bit too, So we don't even have a receptionist at our course. So we are the only golf club in the Czech Republic that has an automated tee time booking system. So basically, it's a touch screen computer, like kind of like the ones you see at McDonald's and that stuff. And you can book your tee times, you can buy your balls, you can rent a push trolley, you can pay for any membership, any kids camps. You can do all of that on this automated kiosk that we have. Because that's another thing for us that it doesn't make sense to pay someone X amount of money per month to sit there and twiddle their thumbs half the time. So that's another thing that we've been doing is we're kind of looking at other sustainability pathways that we can take to make this not just a friendly golf course, but something that we think is going to be the future, because employees are expensive, and for a low budget course like us, it could be something that makes or breaks us, is trying to pay that one person just to sit in the reception and be on Netflix for half the day.
Well, it definitely is a big shift in golf right now, and it used to be kind of geared towards the older, and so you say elite or rich or whatever, and now they're actually talking about golf being sort of thrown at the younger demographic, the 18 to 35-year-olds. So why not create a place for those people and, the older generation to all get along and all, kind of enjoy the golf course together. So we're seeing that big shift. Brian's right. Guys like you are going to be trendsetters. You're the ones that are noticing these things. You can make the changes. And once you kind of present it to your golf course, where we're going to be bringing more people in here, it's going to be more fun, going to be more lively. We're going to be making more money. We're selling beer. People are going to want to be here longer. It's only going to help grow your golf course and the game over there. So I think you're on the right path, and you just kind of start connecting yourself with the right people, and you guys should be able to start shifting that.
Yeah, I mean that's the goal. Because I love this. I love this game. I love playing it. I love working on it. And I just think there's a huge missed opportunity in this country to grow the game. And I think that's one thing that I really want to do is push people, or push the perception that golf isn't an elitist sport, that golf can be something that you can just go out and have fun. You're not stressed about what you're wearing. You're not stressed about if your ball goes left or right, or how far you hit it. Just go out there, have fun, and be outside and enjoy nature, because it's so good being outside. It's it's so good being outside and being in that fresh air, and having some casual fun with some friends is what we need.
Sure as hell beats sitting on your phone watching TikTok all day. That's for sure. So,
yeah.
Love it. Well, this has been amazing, Scotty. We appreciate your time. Before we let you go, is there anything else you want to talk about here on your episode?
If anyone, any of you guys, or anyone else, from your community is ever out in Prague, you guys should hit me up. Hit me up. I'll come out here. We can have a round together, and I can show you my small little track that I have. But it would be great to be able to show more people kind of what a golf course could be that's got a low budget or no budget, let's say, and I can show you guys how without any budget, without any staff, I can still have my greens roll at 9.5, 10. I can still have a golf course that plays nice. It changes throughout the season. During the summer, the fairways are a bit baked out, but it makes it long and fast. But in the shoulder seasons, it plays a little longer, because your ball's not carrying as much, it's not rolling out as much. But it's the way golf should be, I think. You know, it's a you should just enjoy being able to play golf rather than stressing about how green a golf course is.
Love it. That's a great way to end, Scotty. Well done today, buddy.
No worries, guys. I really appreciate you guys bringing me on. It was something that I thought would be a cool story for you guys to hear, and for other people to hear, because I think it is a slightly different pathway into this industry. And I really love what you guys are doing for this industry, and it's helped me a lot. It's opened my eyes a lot. It's inspired me, and I just wanted to, more than anything, to say thank you to you guys because it's been fantastic.
We appreciate that. Great story too, man. Love your background and everything you're doing. It's awesome. And if you need help, when that time comes where you want to take a month and go visit a golf course and be a part of their team and learn there, don't hesitate to reach out. If we can help you line something
Yeah,
up,
awesome.
be more than happy to help you make some connections.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Like I said, it'll probably have to wait till the kids are a little older because the youngest one's only she's turning 2 this year. So
I love it.
Well, Scotty, this has been great. I think the timing worked out perfectly too. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we've been interviewing a lot of big names and stuff lately, but people have been really asking about, some of these low budget and different kind of situations. So you coming on and telling your story today was really good. So we really appreciate it, man.
yeah, awesome. My pleasure. Like I said, it's been fantastic listening to you guys. I am 2 episodes behind at the moment, but apart from that, I'm up to date. But yeah, it's been something that I listen to every day, and what you guys are doing is great for for this wonderful game that we all love.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we appreciate it, Scotty, and enjoy the family.
We'll do, mate. We'll do.
All right, buddy.
Everybody keep in touch, okay?
Yep. Hope to
Yeah,
see you
we'll do.
sometime soon.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, if you guys are out this way, hit me up.
You got it.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
All right. Take
All
care,
right,
everybody.
man.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, guys.
Take care,
You
Scotty.
too.
Thanks.
Cheers.
What a great guy.
Different story. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's so cultured. You got so much different
man.
stuff going on there.
Yeah. That was really neat. I wasn't sure. I didn't know who he was. Wasn't sure what to expect. That was what a great story. Professional baseball for a long time, and now kind of part of the family business. Pretty much self-taught.
Yeah.
Running literally on a shoestring budget. It sounds like. I mean, that's awesome. But just like every other superintendent we've talked to, passionate, right? I mean, I
Very
think that's
passionate.
the one. That's the one thing. That's the common thread amongst all these people that we talk to is the passion, and he's certainly got it. And excited to see what he does with his own golf course there.
Yeah, I know it sounds like he's in a great situation because he's traveled so much, he's had so much going on now. He can just kind of work the course, be a dad, and he's got all these things that he wants to do, which is fantastic.
Yep.
It's not like I'm just going to take this job and work it. I'm going to take this job, grab it by the reins. We're going to change some stuff. Who knows? Maybe he's able to create some sort of association out there for everybody and connect some more people. It should only just continue to grow, and having
Yeah.
guys like that at places like that, that's what's really going to help grow the game.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. He's got a vision, and very interesting to hear about just the different perception of golf. And his comments about the thoughts of, or again, kind of the perception of it being an elitist sport. And then also hearing that, at least in his world, that the communication isn't as prevalent as it is, as we find in the States and other areas where the superintendents talk to one another. It sounds like it's much more competitive in that position, and not as many people to kind of lean on to help them there. So very, very interesting.
Hmm. And when I was younger, I used to love we're going to a nice golf course. Remember, wear your good hat. We got to tuck our shirts in. You can't wear jeans. You got to wear nice shoes. I remember this one golf trip we took. 2 of my buddies had to stop on the way to the course and buy new shoes because it was like, we can't show up with you wearing shoes like that.
Yeah.
And there was that really like professional kind of high level feel to all that, right? But now, I don't know. My feelings have changed to it. you really want to try and include everybody. So,
Yep.
you can certainly have very reserved courses that have memberships and they want it a certain way and they kind of run the show, and that's fine. But for these public courses and some of these places that are just trying to make money and just trying to provide a great space and a great day for people, let them do what they want. Wear whatever you
Yeah.
want, play your music, like just have a great day out there. Pay for your
Yeah.
green fees, keep up pace of play and just enjoy your time. I
Yeah.
think that's what we need for the sport.
Yep. I grew up a little differently than a lot of people. Was very fortunate in my upbringing, but I was was raised at a very exclusive private country club, and so my thought of the game of golf was, khaki pants and golf shirt. And so anywhere I went, that was just the expectation. And, obviously the more I have gotten around, the older I've gotten and more places I've been, I've certainly seen that that's not always the case, and it doesn't have to be the case. And I fully embrace the come as you are, bring your speaker, have a good time. That's the only way we're going to grow the game of golf, is by, like you said, just letting people go out and enjoy the day and be who they are, and whatever, as long as they're not destructive, they're not ruining anything out there. And like you said, keeping up pace of play, not impacting anything else going on the golf course. Who cares? Let them enjoy their day with the game right now. And maybe it could be way off base, but from what I see traveling the country, the game of golf in the States is very healthy. And I don't see as many courses struggling as much as they were in the past. And if they are, again, it's one of those like, all right, maybe we need to evaluate our business process and what we're doing here, and try and figure out a way to make it sustainable and profitable. Because
100%.
ultimately, a golf course is a business, right? So it's got to be profitable.
And we've been to a few of these places now where the driving range is huge. Their outdoor bar, look at grass
Yeah.
clippings, the
Yeah,
park with
absolutely.
that putting course. So people can come to the golf course and have dinner, enjoy a live band, enjoy some cocktails at the outdoor bar, enjoy going out and doing a little pitch and putt or a little
Yep.
stymie putting contest on the putting green. There's a lot of different things that you can do at the course instead of just going out and playing 18 long golf holes.
Yep.
And so yeah, you call them a country
Dude.
club, and golf courses could start taking on a few of those aspects of the other things other than just playing golf.
Yeah, if I lived in West Palm, we'd be at the Lit and at that little outdoor bar at least once a week, right?
Oh.
I mean, that was so much fun.
We'd find a way to set up a little booth or something out there and just record from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
The sun setting over that little range and everything. Man, that's a spot. So
Yeah.
yeah, like and
There are
and
other
like
avenues.
I mentioned grass clippings. That's a perfect
Yeah.
example of a public golf course that was a show up, pay your money,
Yep.
go play, and go home. And now
Yep.
you could spend the entire day there. You
Oh,
could spend the weekend there.
absolutely.
Like it's
Absolutely.
such a vibe. It's such a place. Their social media is amazing. People book golf trips to go and play there now. Like
Yeah.
grab that model and start running with it, people, because that
Yeah.
is working.
Yep. It doesn't just have to be an 18-hole regulation golf course anymore. You're starting to see a lot more of these 6-hole loops, these par 3 courses, the Himalayas style putting greens with lights, the, par 3 courses with lights, the outdoor entertainment. It's just golf courses need to be, or can be a place where people gather. Doesn't always just have to be to go play an 18-hole round of golf. There are other ways to just get people out there. And oh, by the way, while they're at the golf course for XYZ entertainment, now all of a sudden you're getting someone new with a putter in their hand, and they're playing, the Himalayas course, or then they're going to go out to the par 3 course or the driving range, play, the top tracer range or whatever it is. I mean, there's so many different ways, and so many different innovations that we've seen as we travel and talk to people that are just getting people more excited about the game of golf. And then eventually they'll, potentially go out and play the big course, and that's fine. As long as they keep showing up, whether or not they go play the big course or not, it doesn't really matter, right? Just get them out there and get them exposed to it.
Yep. And as things become more expensive and more limited as we get older, our kids are the ones that are coming up behind us. So we got to be
Yep.
getting them to the courses and spending the day as a family there and finding different things for people to enjoy. So, it's not just for a certain group of people anymore. It's for everybody.
I'm in Arizona next week, just an FYI. So
Mhm.
it'll be a road show for me, but shouldn't impact anything.
Okay. Haven't decided yet, but I might release this episode on Wednesday, just extra day after Easter.
Okay.
We have a pretty busy weekend, and then we start at the golf course Monday, so that's going to be a bit of a day for me.
Gotcha. No worries.
But if I get it done, I get it done.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
buddy. Well,
All right, man.
have a good weekend. Have fun down there, eh?
Yeah, we'll do. Thanks, man.
Huge thank you to Scotty Mulhearn for making that one happen for us. Everybody else working on the show right now is busy, and busy is good. We appreciate all of the hard work everybody is putting in right now. I know sometimes it's just me and Brian's voice you hear, mine and Brian's voice you hear, but there's a lot of other people that are making this show happen on a daily and weekly basis. So we really, really appreciate all the support. I know we're always saying thank you, but it's because it's from the bottom of our hearts. We're so fortunate that we get to do this for you guys every week and put this out, that we honestly just continue to say thank you, because it's so much fun. And it's also such a great thing that we get to be able to be a part of for our industry. We have seen growth. I'm sure you have too. COVID did a lot for the game of golf, but it's also done a lot for our industry. And I like to think that some of it came from social media, partly because of Turf Today, partly because of all of you. But there is more light on the industry now than ever. And as long as we continue to grow, work hard, and show the right things from what we're doing, it's only going to get better. So everybody, keep those reels sharp. Got another awesome one coming next week. Keep working hard. We will see you soon.